and welcome to the Next News Network Between the Headlines. It is 9:25 Eastern Time in your nation's capital. My name is Gary Franchi. I am your chief White House correspondent. It's a beautiful day in Washington, lots of activity, and of course, lots of news we're going to be getting at tonight. So we're going to get started with our White House rundown and then our news of the evening. It's Friday. I hope you have wonderful plans. I know that I will be... What, Brian? Yeah, 10 minutes too late. Thanks. I gotta bust Brian's balls a little bit. I love him. I wouldn't be here without him, though. So, we got news to get at, so let's just start the show, shall we? Because news waits for no one. It just keeps happening, right? Okay. Let's get at it. Good evening. I'm Gary Franchi, chief White House correspondent for the Next News Network, bringing you everything that came out of the White House over the past 24 hours, streaming with our partners at Trump Daily Post. President Trump signed 2 executive orders this week that go straight at birth tourism and the citizenship for hire racket built around it. Then he walked into the State Department and announced over $2 billion to rebuild American mining. Purple Heart Day honors, a polysilicon tariff move, and a full lid at Bedminster. So here's the day, hour by hour. So according to the weekly guidance, the President's Day, it opened with executive time and 2 closed press policy meetings, then the 3 o'clock mining roundtable at the State Department, and then wheels up to New Jersey. And from this morning's pool report, the pool clocked no Marine sentry outside the West Wing door at 9:54 a.m., the tell that the President was still working out of the residence. At 10:15, National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett stepped onto the driveway for 6 minutes, brushed off the job numbers, everything's fine, he told reporters, and he didn't even blink doing it. The press office called a lunch lid at 12:04, and the sentry reappeared at the north entrance between 11 and 11:30. The President had crossed over into the West Wing at that time. By early afternoon, Politico's Cheyenne Haslett and the out-of-town pool were staged at the stakeout location loading vans. The motorcade rolled out at 2:56 p.m. It pulled into the State Department at 3:01. Minutes later, President Trump entered the Benjamin Franklin State Dining Room behind Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Interior Secretary Doug Burgum. 15 seats at the long table, mining school deans, industry chiefs, and a room packed 13 rows deep with press. He started talking just after 3. The mining schools had asked for $10 million a year. President Trump gave them $100 million plus $81 million in grants to the Colorado School of Mines, the South Dakota School of Mines, and Johns Hopkins. New mines are opening at the fastest clip since the 1950s, and he credited Jared Agan of the National Energy Dominance Council. And he told Rubio the State Department decor was so good he might take a few pieces back to the White House. That roundtable wrapped up about 3:43 to applause. Pratt Rogers from the University of Utah's Mining Engineering Department thanked the President in his own Truth Social style. MP Materials CEO Jim Litinsky, Robert Friedland, Tom Albanese, and others also sat in. The motorcade rolled out for Joint Base Andrews at 3:49, with the White House switching the New Jersey landing from Morristown to Newark, likely due to throw off any new assassination attempts. Arrival at Andrews, 4:15, the President boarded immediately. Air Force One touched down at 5:04 after a 40-minute hop. He waved off, shouted questions, smiled, and the motorcade rolled to Bedminster at 5:16 under thunderstorm skies. Heavy rain hit 30 minutes in and then cleared arrival at 5:56, and that's when the lid was called. Now, the policy. The White House released the numbers behind that roundtable, over $2 billion in new mining projects. The Department of War is putting $1.4 billion into Cilia Nanotechnologies, $400 million into Sunrise Energy Metals, $150 million into Niron Magnetics, and $85 million into Standard Bauxite. Export-Import Bank money into 5E Advanced Materials, Westwater, and Global Advanced Materials. Energy funding, 14 mining schools, and that's supply chain independence bought with real dollars. The Office of Communications pushed, in case you missed a statement from President Trump directing readers to the full remarks, over on Truth Social, and there were 2 executive orders defending what American citizenship actually means. Billions committed to digging critical minerals out of American ground, and gratitude for every Purple Heart recipient in this country. And that's just one Friday. And that is your White House Rundown for Friday. All right, now let's get into the rest of today's top stories. Welcoming you guys to the show. Glad you're here. Glad you made it. We are live on X with Trump Daily Posts. And I'm checking the comments, making sure all of our connections are active. We are streaming. Yeah, for whatever reason, YouTube chat does not appear to be piping into the feed tonight. So make sure if you want to see your comments potentially on screen, you might want to try Rumble for that. So we are actually streaming on Facebook, Twitch, X at Next News, Trump Daily Posts, Rumble, and YouTube. And of course, on YouTube, you have your option. You can watch vertically or horizontally, depending on your choice of posture and device. I've noticed that a lot of people watch our show through television. That is actually one of the that is the #1 method, according to YouTube's internal analytics for our channel. But we do respect the mobile viewers too, and that's why we have our vertical option, should you so choose. Okay, so we've got some news we're going to get at. I missed you guys yesterday. I was deep in administrative work. Lots of coding, lots of wrapping up from the week prior where we had called a 5-day boycott of YouTube. Still assessing a lot of data, trying to understand exactly what's going on with the algorithm, because I've had conversations with quite a few YouTubers, and they're all noticing the exact same thing that I'm noticing. So we're trying to do our best to make sure the message gets out, and that's one of the reasons why we do partner with Trump Daily Posts. They've got just about 3 million followers on X. And I should also point out, speaking of X, they apparently have now changed their monetization. Well, the Silicon Valley overlords always changing the rules midstream as soon as you get comfortable. We're all too familiar with that here after dealing with YouTube for well over a decade. Yeah, so we know exactly what that means. But I know Elon Musk is doing his best. I do have more faith in him than I do with the YouTube overlords. But we'll have to wait and see exactly what those new monetization policies look like. I've done some light investigating into it, and there are thresholds that have to be met. So if you're watching us on X, I'm sure you're well aware of these new changes. And looks like we have some Cambodians joining the stream. It's good to see you guys. It's been a while since we've been on Facebook. We have a very large Cambodian following over there. This is streaming on my personal Facebook page, so you can go over there and take a look if you'd like. Okay, so enough of the housekeeping. We'll get that out of the way. We're going to start with our first topic of the evening. Yes, the SAVE Act has been torched. Yeah. All right. So let's get at it, Brian. Oh, I got to roll this back here. Okay, here we go. Fortunately, We have bipartisan partners in the Senate that are advocating for the bill not to be passed. That is Ilhan Omar on camera thanking Republican senators for killing the Save America Act. She's thanking Republicans. She's thanking them by name adjacent, and not one of them has stood up to say which one she actually means. So we're talking about 6,531 declared non-citizen registrations. Judicial Watch confirming that Virginia canceled them. Declared. These people said it out loud on the forum. And now Virginia stops removing anyone else because they hit the 90-day federal window. And look at the timing on that. The rolls stay dirty straight through the election. Folks, this is the same Ilhan Omar we told you about back in May, sitting inside that $250 million COVID meal fraud story. And now she's on camera thanking Senate Republicans for keeping citizenship checks off of your ballot. Oh, watch her say it. And then watch President Trump answer her. And now a consumer bulletin that's crossing our desk tonight. Open enrollment season is approaching, and the planned comparison window for millions of American seniors is about to narrow again. And here's the part they cut. For patriots, millions of seniors are overpaying for Medicare right now. Big insurance profits from the confusion, the mailers, the robocalls, the fine print. Nobody finishes. See, there's a newsroom for your Medicare, and it's called Chapter. Independent Medicare advisors, the only advisors comparing every plan nationwide, not just the carriers paying for placement. So you see, Chapter reviews your doctors and prescriptions, then reports back the truth. Already in the right plan, they will confirm. If you're already on the best plan, they'll say so. If you're not, they help you switch plans. One call under 20 minutes and it costs you nothing. 910-728-4109. That's the number, and that's the bulletin. Now back to Omar's thank you note, but we need to give honorable mention to Jena Griswold. That's the Colorado Secretary of State. She's sitting on the voter file right now. Her words, quote, DOJ is suing states trying to get voter data. I told them, take a hike. That's what she said. Take a hike. The RNC is already suing her for letting people vote who never lived in Colorado. And now the Post. Here we have, direct from the White House, President Trump. Voter ID and proof of citizenship are common sense. And they really are. President Trump breaks down the failures of congressional Democrats, election integrity, the Save America Act, and more with Jake Sherman of Punchbowl News. And right on cue, we have to reset our Bluetooth because we didn't do it before the segment. And that is the glory of live streaming. So as the
to vote.
Oh, there we go. There is our
photo
commander-in-chief.
Just to make sure, because the elections are rigged in this country. The elections are a mess in this country.
Yes, they are.
And that was proven in 2020. But you have all the... I view that as a very important thing. It's voter ID. If you just even take the ballots out of it, the ballots are very important. But we do that another time. Voter ID, and it's proof of citizenship. And I figure you can't get any more basic than that. In other words, we want to see your citizenship. We want to make sure that you're a citizen to vote. We like photo ID, just to make sure, because the elections are rigged in this country. The elections are a mess in this country. And that was proven in 2020. But you have all the Democrats are going to vote against it. Every Democrat is going to vote against voter ID.
They have 5 times, to be clear.
Well, they do it over and over, and I think it should pay a price during the election, for the election. Every single Democrat is opposed. But not only that, they're opposed to even the great, big, beautiful bill. I like the term better than the one. I like the great better than the one. But the great, big, beautiful bill is something that they all voted against, every single one of them. So they voted against, no tax on tips, and they voted against Social Security, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, car loan deductions, all these things, these incredible things. They voted against everything. They vote against transgender all the time, the mutilization of your children. They vote against open borders. They vote in favor of open borders. They vote totally in favor of open borders. These people, it's the craziest thing. So I like having their hands go up voting against all of these things. But when you vote against, as an example, when you vote against the Save America Act, you're voting against fair voting. And when you think that they're voting against citizenship, I want to see a citizenship. These are things that nobody can understand when they're voting against photo ID.
That's your commander-in-chief right there. And now Ilhan Omar publicly thanking Senate Republicans for killing that bill. Here she is at the podium calling them her bipartisan partners. This from The Blaze. Omar thanks establishment GOP senators for refusing to pass the Save America Act.
Congress, one of the other things that we are staying vigilant and watching out for is the president's #1 priority, which is the SAFE Act. We believe that is a piece of legislation that is going to disenfranchise so many people from the vote. And we do have, fortunately, partners in the Senate that are bipartisan, that are advocating for the bill not to be passed.
Bipartisan destruction. And then Eric Darty's take on that is rather blunt. She's gloating because she benefits, and he pairs it with President Trump saying Thune is trying, but the votes aren't there. He writes, Somali Rep Ilhan Omar celebrating the Senate GOP for not passing the Save America Act. Everybody must realize the third world pirate is gloating over this because she benefits from the fraud. The Save Act, we believe it will disenfranchise so many. Fortunately, we have bipartisan people in the Senate advocating for the bill not to be passed. Pass secure elections and destroy them in November. That is the winning formula. Let's see, I think this is
the president's #1 priority, which is the SAFE Act. We believe...
Let's see real quick here, because we have that clip of Omar. This is
Congress, one of the other things...
So this one is, yeah, let's go to that. Wait, what happened to my Omar clip?
Congress, one of the other things...
Did I just lose the... Oh, okay.
Is the president's #1 priority, which is the SAFE Act. We believe that is a piece of legislation that is going to disenfranchise so many people from their ability to vote. And
so the fraud is not theoretical. Virginia found 6,500 non-citizen registrations, then announced they won't remove another one inside 90 days of a federal election. So this also from Eric Doherty. It's been exposed that the state of Virginia, after finding thousands of non-citizens on the voter rolls, will not remove any more 90 days out from an election. Virginia has an active agreement with left-wing organizations to shield voter fraud. Judicial Watch confirmed it. 6,531 declared non-citizen voter registrations were canceled. That's only the ones they publicly knew about, and the fraud is everywhere. The Save America Act is existential. So Colorado's Jena Griswold goes further. The Secretary of State says she told the DOJ to take a hike on voter rolls. Lovely, right? Pro-voter fraud, Colorado Secretary of State Jena Griswold, this is what war correspondent is writing, just openly admitted she's refusing to turn over the voter rolls to Trump administration despite hundreds of thousands of non-citizens being confirmed on the rolls nationwide. She's also being sued by the RNC for allowing people to vote in the elections who never lived in the state. She said, quote, the DOJ is suing states trying to get voter data. I told them to take a hike. Force her into compliance and seize the voter rolls immediately. What is she hiding? That is the question. So President Trump told Jake Sherman, quote, you can't get anywhere any more basic than that. Show ID, prove you're a citizen, and that's the floor. And a block of Senate Republicans looked at the floor and stepped off it. So Ilhan Omar could go on television, and what did she do? She thanked them for it. When she thanks you, you're not a moderate. you have now become Ilhan Omar's asset. So find out which Senate Republicans Omar was thanking and call their offices tomorrow morning. That's the assignment. Make them say it on record before November. Did you stall proof of citizenship, yes or no? Demand Virginia resume removals inside that 90-day window. Force Griswold to hand over the rolls that she's hiding. Every fake ballot cancels out a real American. One citizen at a time, and that's theft. This bill isn't dead, folks. It's stalled, and stalled things move when the pressure gets unbearable. So share this report, drop the name of your senator in the comments, and let's find out who's on Omar's thank you list. Pass secure elections, then win so big in November that none of this is ever close again. And there's one more thing on the SAVE Act fight that didn't make this segment. Text White House to 844-840-4963 and it lands on your phone tonight, straight from our credentialed team inside the building. No algorithm standing in the way, but receiving is only half of it. If you want to be the one that's pushing this Omar clip into the feeds where it actually stings, text signal to that same number and you're in the next news signal core. We'll tell you where to hit. We track it. So let's go, Patriots. All right. Okay, let's keep moving along. Ilhan Omar. How crazy is that, right? That she's actually thanking the Republicans for killing it. Trump Daily Post checking in. Good to see you in the house, sir. Where news come from when war stopped now? Also, they are never live to have viewer. Well, appreciate your effort to post there. And apparently there is a YouTube connectivity issue with the chat tonight. What could just be a glitch in the system. We don't know. I'm not sure, Brian, if it's related to. Is there a setting? Okay. Oh, it's not a glitch. It's Brian's fault today. Okay. That's okay, Brian. It's a... right. Okay. Maybe you could put a ticket in to the EV Mux people. Yeah. You know what else I was thinking? You know, with these new overlays, what we maybe you could have them have like an overlay cache system that caches internally and doesn't persist. Well, for the sake of what I'm talking about is for the sake of EV Mux's system. Oh, you've already asked them. Okay. What's up, Trump Daily Post? He's dropping back. Oh, and Tracy's here. What's up, Tracy? You showed up. And Shane, what's up? Jose on X. Poo Lin over on Facebook. Okay, we got more news. Enough house talk. We got to talk about what's going on with Dr. Fauci. Oh, yeah. This is good news. Two envelopes, Senate Homeland Security letterhead, hand-carried into 950 Pennsylvania Avenue. Rand Paul didn't mail them. He walked them in. Anthony Fauci is formally referred to the Justice Department for criminal prosecution. And listen to what Paul says about the year that the auto pen pardon starts. You see, 1 million Americans died. That's Rand Paul's number, said out loud in front of the Senate. And worldwide, the estimates run from 7.1 million to all the way up to 36 million people dead. We told you back on July 29th when Fauci took the fifth 111 times with a blanket pardon in his pocket. Now the committee voted contempt. So tonight I'm going to roll Josh Hawley's line about the nickname he gave Fauci, and I'm going to play President Trump on camera answering whether the DOJ should prosecute him. And his answer is not what the press expected. You see, we're talking about 1 million dead Americans, and the man responsible is walking around with a pardon dated 2014. You see, that's the government that you're trusting with your retirement. And here's what I actually control, what I own. We have midterm elections coming up, control of Congress on the line, and markets hate uncertainty. Uncertainty breeds volatility. Between now and November could be the most volatile stretch for stock markets and the economy that we've seen in years. And physical gold and silver hedge the volatility. Noble Gold Investments has spent over a decade helping everyday Americans protect their wealth with precious metals. It's simple, easy, safe. Go to nextnewsgold.com or call Noble Gold at 877-646-5347. And for America's 250th, mention my name. You get a free 10-ounce, that's right, 10-ounce silver bar when you open a new qualified account. Have you seen the price of silver lately? Now let's get back to those envelopes. Okay, look at the address on the second envelope. Janine Pirro, 601 D Street. He didn't send one letter, he sent two. To two prosecutors, in person. No email, no fax, no friendly leak. And now watch Hawley put a number on the sentence. Rand Paul has delivered letters to the DOJ referring Fauci for prosecution. It is just music to my ears. These are the actual letters. The Honorable Janine Pirro and the Honorable Todd Blanche. So if you ever wanted to mail them a letter, there you go. That's the address if you ever want to send Todd or Janine a letter from the United. I love it. I love looking at the stationery from the government. Unless that stationery comes from the IRS, you can. No, that's not those aren't the letters I like to see. Okay. And then, of course, just no stamp, just Rand Paul's signature. I love it. So the letters didn't come out of nowhere. The Homeland Security Committee voted to hold Fauci in contempt of Congress, and that carries jail time. Post-millennial confirming Senate committee votes to hold Fauci in contempt and could face jail time if convicted. Now, Hawley wants him a year behind bars, and he's got a nickname for the man who kept taking the fifth. Let's check in with Senator Josh Hawley.
He has got a sweetheart deal. He needs to be prosecuted. You have immunity. He already had that auto pen pardon. He has immunity. You can't come in and take the fifth. He took it so many times, I started calling him Dr. Fifth. It is an absolute joke. This guy needs to be charged. We sent over a referral today to the Department of Justice. He can spend a year in prison for contempt of Congress. I hope they go after him hard.
I know what we're all thinking, is there any way they can get longer than 1 year in prison for contempt of Congress? And unfortunately, the maximum sentence is 12 months, 1 year in prison for criminal contempt of Congress. And what is the likelihood of him actually being prosecuted and sentenced? It looks like it is very low, likely only about 5%, because our government are all in on it together and they won't do anything about anything.
Unless you are part of the Trump circle, then like Bannon and others, they'll throw you in jail for contempt of Congress. But Fauci, I mean, look, I try not to be cynical here. I like the momentum we're seeing, but I mean, let's be honest. We lose faith. This man killed, allegedly, potentially, with his research, 36 million people, right? How many people did Adolf Hitler kill? Drop a comment. Maybe you guys can search that up. Oh, I'm sure we're going to get a lot of interesting comments on that one. But aside from that point, it's one thing when Steve Bannon or Peter Navarro don't cooperate or are held in contempt of Congress, right? It's one thing. But then, if you are at the center of the greatest and most deadly pandemic that the modern world has seen, and you shred documents and you hide the truth and you plead the fifth so many times, and you get to walk, let's just hope, and I do have faith in Todd Blanche because he has been very aggressive after Pam Bondi's departure, probably the most aggressive AG we've seen in a long time. So I do have a lot of hope there. I think that Jeanine Pirro, she's a firecracker. I've met her. She's a great woman. I think she has the backbone to do something. So we got 2 letters heading out, and that's what we want to see. 2 fronts. So let's get to that the date on the pardon, because it starts in 2014, the same year, the same year that the Wuhan lab funding started. And there it is, folks. There it is. Senator Rand Paul says the reason Fauci was given a pardon beginning in 2014 was because that's when Fauci started funding the Wuhan lab. Now, during COVID, when we were the leading voice that were amplifying others who believe Fauci should belong in prison, and that the whole pandemic was just a scam, the scamdemic, as many have called it, or plandemic. In my research during that time, I remember, because BuzzFeed did a hit piece on me, we were questioning the gain-of-function funding because Barack Obama had put a moratorium on it. And that, of course, lines exactly up with this date. That's when the moratorium started under Obama. And then, what does Fauci do? He outsources it to the Chinese communists. And then what happens next? Oops! No, it wasn't a bad egg roll in the wet market, okay? It was gain-of-function research funded by Dr. Fauci that went and got leaked out of a lab. Whether it was leaked or intentionally leaked, that still remains a question. But the fact is it spread worldwide. Because Fauci wanted to get around Barack Obama's moratorium on gain-of-function research. Okay, so Senator Rand Paul confirms at least 1 million Americans died from COVID. That's because Anthony Fauci funded that research. He says even if he's liable for it, he can never be held accountable because of his pardon. 1 million Americans died. Estimated worldwide, 36 million. Let's go to Dr.
1 million Americans died, and I think they deserve to know the truth. Anthony Fauci has advocated for dangerous gain-of-function research for 2 decades now. The question why is not a question that he can have liability for. He was given a pardon. Interestingly, the pardon starts in 2014. That's when the funding of the lab in Wuhan started. So I think he should answer questions. As far as pleading the fifth when you have a pardon, all you have to do is tell the truth, just not commit a new crime. But if we were to grant him immunity from telling the truth, of what value, would his testimony be?
Just so everyone is aware, the estimated deaths from COVID-19 worldwide is 7.1 million, and some estimates have it all the way up to 36 million. I don't think a pardon should be able to pardon 36 million people dying from a virus that you funded. Anthony Fauci needs to be tried for crimes against humanity.
I second the motion. Wall Street apes. Another great follow on X. So President Trump was asked directly if the DOJ should prosecute Fauci, and he brought up Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon, just like I did.
Do you think the DOJ should prosecute Dr. Fauci?
Well, they prosecuted Peter Navarro and they prosecuted Steve Bannon, 2 very decent people, over something that essentially was never prosecuted before. And there are sort of telltale signs of similarity. And they went to jail for a number of months. over something that I saw one of the analysts said they used to laugh at it in the Justice Department when something like that was referred. But Merrick Garland prosecuted two very decent people and sent them to jail. I wasn't president. I would have given them a pardon in 2 seconds. But I wasn't. It was after I left. They waited till after I left, and then they prosecuted these two people, and they ought to be ashamed of themselves. So when you see that happen, you sort of say maybe he should. What he did is far more serious than a lot of crimes, frankly. But they prosecuted two people when nothing like that has ever taken place before.
Mr. President.
Unbelievable. Quote, interestingly, the pardon starts in 2014. That's when the funding of the lab in Wuhan started. That's Rand Paul. And I want you to sit in that for just a second. You don't hand a man immunity backdated to the exact year he started funding gain-of-function work in Wuhan unless you know precisely what he did in that year. The pardon isn't exoneration. It's a confession with a signature on it. You see, Todd Blanche and Janine Pirro, they've got the referral in their hands. They've got it right now. So charge him. Merrick Garland's DOJ dusted off this same statute to send Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro to a federal cell over a subpoena fight. President Trump said it flat out on camera. They used to laugh at those referrals until it was time to punish his people. If contempt of Congress is a prison crime for Bannon, it's a prison crime for Fauci. And Hawley says the odds are maybe 5% because the government protects its own. Then we make it 100. Comment the names Blanche and Pirro below. Give them a shout out and share this with somebody who still thinks that the pardon settled it. Don't let anybody bury this one quietly like they buried everything else. Because quiet burial is exactly how these referrals die. And that's why we built a way around it. Text White House to 844-840-4963. Next News Network is credentialed inside the White House. And what our people pull from those halls lands on your phone every night ahead of the crowd and past whatever YouTube decides you shouldn't see. Now, if reading isn't enough for you tonight, and after that pardon date it shouldn't be, text the word signal to that same number and take your post in the Next News Signal Corps. Ranks, missions, and a command center built to move truth with no gatekeepers standing in the door. I need you in this fight. Okay, going back to our chat room. Okay, let's see who's here. Oh, that was... So, around 11 to 17 million people. That's how many people? That's how many people Hitler killed? 11 to 17 million? Damn. So Fauci bested Hitler? Whew, that's crazy. What's up, Crin Lin? Good to see you. Oh, this next story, I think you're going to enjoy it. You will enjoy this one for sure. And I want to make sure that we have our, let's see, this one. You know, we've been covering the reflecting pool drama for a while. And apparently there has been new movement on it. And apparently Hillary Clinton has decided to weigh in. Yeah, old Crooked is back. Let's see if we can get this thing. This is the here, and then this is going to be, let's see here. Let's see if it switches for us. Okay. Yeah, look at that. All of our little buttons and gizmos and gadgets aplenty. They all work now. At least for now. Okay, it's Friday. It's about 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. I'm going to roll out this next story for you guys because I know you're all waiting. Andrew Leiden got his camera on that pool the minute the fence came down. And there they are. Knife cuts running 300 feet along the Lincoln reflecting pool liner, photographed. And President Trump saw them too. He told Jeanine Pirro to reopen the case that she already dropped. And now look at who's playing the accused man's lawyer. Quote, the material was cut right where the videotape showed, for 300 feet or more. And that's President Trump in writing, naming the exact evidence, people on their knees, hands in the water, right at the slashes. Witnesses. A contractor who already told Park Police it was vandalism, and Pirro walked away from it fast. Let's hope she doesn't walk away from that Fauci referral just as fast. So here's what I'm rolling for you. The president on camera describing the box cutter and the fertilizer dumped into that water, and then Emily Miller's before and after showing the red evidence tape gone and washed off. You see, Andrew Leiden, right? He walked up to a fence line with a camera and did what a whole press corps refused to do. And that stubborn do-your-own-homework instinct is exactly how I ended up on red light therapy. Your mitochondria are the cellular batteries that power everything. And when they run you down, well, you feel it as fatigue and slow healing. Now, studies show that red and near-infrared light therapy is one of the most well-researched tools out there. It helps cells produce more energy, reduces cellular level stress, and supports natural repair processes. Now, I dug into the science with Jonathan Otto, and then I got a Red Life machine myself, 9 clinically studied wavelengths. I actually have one on my desk, thanks to Jonathan Otto, so I can get red light therapy while I'm working. 9 clinically studied wavelengths, dual chip technology, twice the power of standard devices. It's built to actually work. So go to myredlight.com/NNN, link in the description below. Use NNN Rep 25 for individual items, NNN Rep 30 for bundles. That's right. So stock is limited. Now let's get back to those slashes, shall we? So the fence went up in June, and it blocked the view of the whole north edge, and nobody could see a thing. You take the fence away, and there they are. Cuts running clean along the expansion joints. They were counting on that barrier, my friends, and wait till you see who's now lawyered up. So we have this, President Trump, and this is a long post from his Truth Social account. We're going to bring that to you right now on screen so you can read along. Now that people are able to see it up close, they are reporting pure vandalism at the reflecting pool. Thank you, Andrew Leiden, for your observation. The material was cut right where the videotape shows for 300 feet or more. People on their knees with their hands in the water at the exact location of the slashes. Additionally, there were witnesses to the vandalism. And the flexible areas of the material were cut with a knife. Unbelievable. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro should revisit her hastily made decision, especially since it turned out that the gentleman involved is a big player in Act Blue, a disgraceful fundraising scam, and is represented by a Trump-deranged, sleazebag, political hack lawyer Norm Eisen and crew, a group that uses charity for political purposes, which is, to the best of my knowledge, illegal. I've been beating Eisen, a complete lunatic, in court for 10 years or more. He just keeps coming, but I always win. President Donald J. Trump. And here is the official post from his Truth Social account. So Eric Darty pulls up the photos and the president's own word together, plus the box cutter comment from the farm event. Let's go to that.
We caught some people
My bad.
We caught some people vandalizing our beautiful reflecting pool. We have the reflecting pool. They took a cutter, a box cutter or something very sharp. And can you imagine, where did these people come up with this? And they threw a little fertilizer in the water, which is not good. Fertilizer doesn't go well with water. Clear, beautiful water doesn't work well. But they caught them. They actually caught them, and Those guys have some problems ahead of them, but they did some damage. But it looks beautiful. I just looked at it, Doug, and it looks beautiful, and they're going to fix it. They cut the bottom with a knife and pulled it and tried to do it as much damage as possible. These are sick people, but none of them are in the farming community. You're lucky. If you did have, you wouldn't put up with them very long, I don't think. But Secretary of Health and Human Services.
So President Trump's remarks. Andrew Leiden, cuts in the expansion joints on the side of the reflecting pool are visible today after NPS removed a fence that has blocked the view since June. The contractor reported to Park Police as vandalism, but we have not been able to photograph until now due to the fences. And Emily Miller has before and after. She's asking if somebody just washed off the red tape marking those cuts. Let's take a look here. It's 2 p.m. I could see the 170-foot slit. 4 p.m. power washing it. Removes red tape from the inspection, hiding damage visible for the first time. These photos were taken by police, cut with razor wire. Wow. Only washed this section. And then left. So this is her take here. Trump calls it the 300-foot gash. That's what everyone has been talking about. He's been saying it. Washing will not repair the leaks. Contractors will fix it soon. It's so sad after all the work that was done there. But that's the TDS radical left for you. So Andrew Leiden's original post is the whole ballgame here. Fence is up since June. Contractor reported it. Open source intel. This is the actual post from President Trump that has the visuals so you can see what President Trump was referring to. Clear vandalism at play. Real America Voice also runs Jeanine Pirro, President Trump's statement straight. Jeanine Pirro is being asked to reopen this. And on the other side, Hillary Clinton returns. Says President Trump is unhinged and obsessing over a failed pool job on the pivot. Yeah, we're all going to pivot away from you, Hillary. Hillary? Oh, my bad.
Old pool job, another example of the absurd world in which we are living, that you've got the President of the United States obsessing over a failed...
I mean, Hillary, you don't look healthy, Hillary. You really don't.
You've got the President of the United States obsessing over a failed pool job, a construction job gone wrong that he oversaw, just like what he's doing now on the South Lawn, tearing it up for the helicopter landing zone.
Right.
I mean, honestly, the guy is so out of it right now, unhinged, obsessed and focused on all the wrong things. Maybe we should be happy he's messing around with the reflecting pool and, not starting another war somewhere else.
Okay, Hillary. Thanks for that. They cut the bottom with a knife and pulled it and tried to do as much damage as possible. These are sick people, and that's the President of the United States describing what somebody did to Abraham Lincoln's memorial. And the man accused of it is a big player in Act Blue with Norm Eisen and crew standing behind him. That's not a construction complaint. That's a federal crime with a fundraising machine that's paying the bill. So reopen the file, Madam U.S. Attorney. Charge the vandalism, name who paid for Norm Eisen, and tell us who authorized washing the red tape off the concrete, because that wasn't maintenance. So we flagged this crowd back in May of 29 when they mocked the president for caring about that pool. Remember how loud the laughing was? Now we know why. Hillary Clinton's answer to a /national shrine was that he's unhinged and obsessed, and we should be glad he's messing around with the reflecting pool. That's their whole position. Lincoln's memorial gets carved open, and it's a punchline. So share this with somebody who bought the failed pool job story. Tell me below what you think happened to that tape, and understand something. This fight doesn't end because a prosecutor got tired. No. You see, Leiden found those cuts with a camera and no fence in his way. And that's exactly how we work. Text White House to 844-840-4963, and my credentialed team's reporting from inside that building lands on your phone every night, including the pieces the broadcast can't carry. But receiving it's only half of this. The other half is making sure it survives when YouTube decides you shouldn't see it. Text Signal to that same number, and you are in the next news Signal Corps, standing between our reporting and the people who want it buried. So let's go build it together right now. So, what do you guys think about that story? Oh, what's up? Looks like we've got the Rumblers are arriving right on cue. It's good to see you guys. Yeah. Master Lore, Tracy, Corinne Lynn, everybody is showing up. Well, that's the show tonight. It is Friday, so we're going to start our weekend and relax. And I should let you guys know that the Franchi family, we got a puppy. So we're on puppy training duty right now. That's a new thing in our house. Rather fun to watch. I've never owned a dog before. I've had guinea pigs. I've had chameleons. I've had hermit crabs. Hamsters. Fluffy. Rest in peace. My mother had a cat named Dinah. Short for dynamite, actually. So we're learning the ropes in our family, what it takes to have a dog, and it's quite adorable, actually, watching my boys play with the dog. And you know, when I show up home from work and he runs to me, I think that's the cutest thing. I've never had that experience before, but now I understand why people love dogs so much. I've always been anti-dog for like my whole life, because I've always seen how it disrupts people. So many friends, I've got to go, man. Like, we're all hanging out, having a great time, and then they've got to go let their dog out. It always disrupts the night. There's always some reason. Or you've got to figure out where you're going to take the dog if you got to go somewhere, and XYZ. Travel becomes complicated. But I guess there's ways around all of that. And I'm going to learn those ways pretty soon. Yeah. And our dog, what do you think our dog's name is? Well, I named him Peppino. Yes, Peppino Franchi. That's actually his middle name. His first name's Hiccup. That's what my boys want to name him, Hiccup. He doesn't hiccup, but he's a cute little guy. Tiny puppy. Anyway. So it's great to see you guys tonight. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a blessed weekend. And we'll be back on. Will we be back on? Yes, yes, we'll be back on Monday. And then I need to let you know that next week I have events planned Thursday and Friday that will take me out of the studio. So I will not have any broadcast for you on Thursday or Friday. No way around it, really. But maybe it's time for me to look into getting one of those clones, those AI clones that could do the work. But the AI clone does not have what's in here. And that's what matters. I love you guys. I wish you all a wonderful and blessed weekend. Make sure you check out the Signal Corps. There will be briefings dropping tonight that are exclusive to Signal Corps members, personalized to Signal Corps members. They are designed to take the content that we have produced and put it into a formalized briefing. A lot of what I present here can't make it onto a segment. So the briefings, the intelligence reports that we release, the presidential daily briefing that we release, Those are all exclusives for Signal Corps members. And I think one of the coolest thing about the Signal Corps member is not just the fact that you get these intelligence briefings, you get to rank up, you get points for actions, and there's a leaderboard. But also, when you go to that intelligence briefing page, after you've completed a mission, it only unlocks after you have to complete the mission before you can get the debrief. And that's where you get to see a page that actually has all of the tweets that I use. So you see me scrolling X while I'm broadcasting. Well, on these intelligence briefings, you get to actually, or debriefings, you get to see the actual post, the source of truth that we use. So you get a lot more for it. It doesn't cost anything, but the whole point of it is to create a rapid response team that can assist in triggering algorithmic signals with genuine, actual engagement. Because we only want people who care. People who are actually going to pay attention, who want to watch the content and leave a comment or engage with others in the comments. It's not for click farming or fake engagement. It's designed specifically to help organize people around a common message if that mission follows their beliefs. Very simple. So anyway, enough of me talking here. It's 9:21 Central, 10:21 Eastern. So I hope you guys have a wonderful and blessed weekend, and we'll see you next week.